Campus Dad was a show that we tried to explore the relationships between certain campus gals when they were in campus, but today are in the world of their professions. So we brought them on the hot seat and spoke to them about their time while on campus and their relationship with their parents as it related to their own ambitions, their life, and everything in between. The purpose of this show was to give you a glimpse on how things could have been, or can be, or perhaps reinforce the relationships you have with your parents. Campus gals, this is for you. If you feel your parents are average, above average, below average, based on who you've heard here and how their parents were with them, then you might be on a track to either repair or strengthen. It's just more fitting to have as a guest on my show, my daughter. Kavya Srivatsa was on campus 5 years ago, and I was the campus dad live. So we're going to delve into Kavya's life on campus and see what her dad, her campus dad and campus mom were about. And hopefully she's going to be honest.
Let's go!
I've given her the, hopefully the confidence to just be honest, and I have braced myself to hear all the gory details of where we
went wrong.
All went right. Okay, so let's dive right into this. If you're just tuning in, this is Campus Dad, and we're available on YouTube at campusgal.in, on our website at campusgal.in, and glimpses of our product, our content, at campusgal.in on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So don't forget to join our community. And how do you do that? Well, first go to any of these and you will know how. So Kavya, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Did you expect to be on this seat? Ever?
It was inevitable. In my 27 long years, it was inevitable.
You think,
Yeah.
Did you expect me to bring you here?
Honestly, no.
And when I
I should
asked
have.
you, what was it like?
It was like about damn time. I was like, okay, let's do this.
Oh my God, I got this opportunity to actually tell him what he thinks.
Yeah, and also the last time I was on air with you, I had like a fake name and we were talking about other kinds of nonsense. So like, this is like a do-over for me. Like I'm
So
actually...
this is like real name Kavya.
Yeah.
So tell us, Kavya, tell me what you do right now. Where are you in life right now?
So right now I'm actually in a very interesting phase of my life because I think I'm like trying to again figure out what I'm really good at and how I want to, use that to shape the future of my career. I feel like that might be happening to people a lot faster now, as in every few years even, because of just how technology changes and opportunities change. And so, yeah, so right now I'm looking at, different forms of marketing, branding, content consulting. I'm trying to be a bridal stylist on the side because I love fashion. And I knew that no matter what I do, if I don't have some fashion related thing in my life, I will feel unfulfilled for that. And really just for the first time in my life, not having a plan, but also saying yes to every opportunity that comes my way. And that's been working for me well so far.
All right. So this is one show that I'm actually going to listen to my daughter without interrupting her. For, when you do podcasts, the etiquette is not to do that. And this is a perfect place for her to say her piece. But you are going to college for certain things, gals. Some of you want to be a CA, maybe. Some of you are here for marketing, or I don't know. What else do you go to school for? See, I'm as exposed as I am as a dad. I have my limitations to even imagine what today's education system is going to prepare you for. And why are you even there? Maybe medicine, engineering. See, those are the default stuff. And perhaps you want to be a criminologist. See, now there could be a new place that you want to go. Or some of you are trying to learn to be a restaurateur, chef, bartender. And there are degrees for all of these things now. But will you actually use it? Now, all these things that you're talking about, Kavya.
Yeah.
Did school prepare you for this?
No. Yes and no. I think the easy answer is no, because I feel like the outside world it is the outside world. When you're in school, college, it's for whatever said and done, it is a bubble.
What did you want to be when you were coming into college, for example? What was your life journey like until you hit grade 11?
I feel like it was fairly typical in the sense that I had, my mom on my case, board exams, the usual pressure, I got my phone confiscated very often,
Why?
the usual teenage problems, because I was texting beyond my curfew, which I think was 11 o'clock at that time. So I was a naughty girl. Yeah. But, I feel like that up until 11th, having to do all of those subjects, sitting with the things I don't like, I feel like that was a very important lesson. I cringed through it, cried through it, I screamed through it.
Yeah, but they say go through school and college. It's really not what they teach you there, but it's to teach or tell someone else about you if you are able to go through the grind, if you are able to display discipline, if you're able to suck it up and do what it is that even if you don't like, that you are able to take instruction. Maybe the education system is rigged up to have you conform to a traditional workplace, which has all of these things. And for an employer, you're going to find, okay, so you went through 4 years of college, which means you can stick to something for 4 years.
Right.
Right? It's not really what did you learn in those 4 years. Now, everything that you're saying you did, up to 10th, you were stuck and confined.
I was confined, and it's funny you mentioned that, it's structured around wanting to, enforce discipline and all of that. I didn't have any of that.
You
right?
Didn't have any
Not
of what?
even the discipline when I was in school. I was a very not interested student
No, but you
up
showed
until
up.
10th grade. No, really, I showed up when it mattered right at the end. But
No, what I mean is you physically showed up to school and sat through all of those periods and classes and did what was expected of you.
sure, but how many times did I get kicked out of class for daydreaming? All right, who's counting that?
Well, those are consequences, but
Yeah.
you still showed up.
I showed up in the way I was, and I dealt with the consequences of that. I think I found it very difficult to conform. I was the weird girl. Everyone would sit like this, table, chair. I would just be like, I'm too cool, so I'm going to sit sideways. Or I remember in this one class, I told my teacher I was very down to earth and
How were
sat on
your-
the ground.
How were your PTA meetings?
I would always sort of embrace or like brace for the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And surprisingly, all my teachers were always like, yeah, she has so much potential. And I think eventually, I don't know, call it manifestation, gaslighting, like Delulu. I believe them. My parents, you guys had a tougher time because what the teachers would say and like my marks would never like match. Because mom would always be like, no, it's so nice. So I believe she has potential, but like, why is she barely passing?
Yeah, it's like you guys aren't doing your job.
Yeah.
We send her to school so you can teach her. And I think it was more about that.
They must have seen something in me because, when I...
No,
when
they're
really
just being
push-
nice.
No, but when push came to shove, it's funny because this was this distinct memory I have of math class, and math was just my greatest enemy, my kryptonite, and
Sorry, I didn't mean to pass that gene down.
you passed all kinds of genes down, man. Yeah, but that was one of them, and math was my kryptonite. And this was right before my board exams, and my math teacher was kind of giving everyone a pep talk and rattling off the names of, who she expects, good marks from and things like that.
And you were
And
not
I was
even-
so zoned out. I didn't even know what she was talking about, right? I'm here doodling on the corner of the sheet on a mock exam, mind you. And then suddenly I hear my name and everybody starts clapping. And I thought this was some kind of joke. I was like, what kind of sick joke are you playing on me right now?
We believe Kavya is going to shine in the board exam while she's just been barely passing till now. But
I was like, that's just rude. Are you trying to embarrass me? What? Like my friends were also like, are you sure, ma'am? But they must have seen something in me, or maybe it was the absolute faith they had in me that made me feel like, okay, you know what? I need to...
pressure.
Not even pressure. I think it was encouragement. It was belief
So what
that I might not have had in myself at the
So
time.
what was this belief like at home with your parents? Well, academically for now, let's talk about that. Did you have, what was it like? I mean, from your mouth, I mean, I know what it was like, but
Up until 10th, I'm 100% sure my mom just wanted me to like get into. It's always about the next step, right?
Obviously, it's always about the
So
next.
it's like, just do well enough, do what you need to do to move on to the next step. And that was the expectation of me at all times.
You keep saying mom, mom. How was your campus dad involved
My
here?
campus dad didn't know what grade I was in half the time. I'm kidding. But like, he definitely didn't know what like my class was. I remember you called me one day in school and we were supposed to go to this concert. I was so excited about it. And I was so pissed off at you because the only reason I didn't get a call from reception was because you didn't know what my section was. So they didn't know which Kavya to call. And you got mad and you were like, there's only one Kavya Srivatsa in this entire school. I can guarantee you they can find you if they wanted to. And I'm like, well, I got late for my concert, so thanks.
That was in school.
Yeah, I was in school.
So now when you're heading into grade 11, where we now call college years,
Yeah.
in pre-university spaces, you stayed in school, or did you go to a college?
No, I stayed in school. Although the sort of Mount Carmel College
No,
was
but-
always hanging over me as like, if you don't get enough good marks, that's just where you're gonna go, almost like a threat.
No, so your board exam, did you end up doing something in math? The expectation?
So yeah, I did, and it's so funny because I knew I did well, but I feel like my parents had a tough time. You had a tough time even accepting it, because this is one of my. This is
There has
such a
to be a
hilarious
glitch.
memory. There's like, yeah, you're like, what's wrong? Wait, is it decimal point? Like, because neither of us were in town when the board exam results came out, so we had a family friend look into it for us, and kind of just tell us the results over the phone.
Yeah, we were actually doing a fabulous drive. I think the whole family, we were driving from Bangalore to Scotland at that time when the board exam results were out. So we were kind of anxious at some point, and then
Yeah. That was my 11th grade board exams. This is the first one. So during this one, you were
10th.
on a work trip. Yeah, my 10th grade. The most, in Kannada, Amma has this word, right? Bandwala. Like the kaam ka natija. And so I was on this trek you forced me to go on. And you were on a work trip. So neither of us were in town. I was on a train.
so I forced you to go on a trek.
Yeah, you did. You did. You forced me to go on this
How was
trip.
that? What life lessons did you learn from there?
Don't go on treks unprepared.
Unprepared. That's the
Unprepared.
key. Gear is your best friend, right? Good
Gear is
What
your
happened?
best friend. Also, like, knowing what you're getting into helps. Knowing your own physical limitations helps. I discovered all of that great stuff that trip. I
Good.
think,
So
yeah.
it built character.
Maybe it did.
No,
but it
I'm-
gave me some stories for sure. So I'm grateful.
So I'm trying
for
to
that.
find the good news out of all of these things.
Yeah. I have awesome stories. I have great stories from that trip. Mostly bashing you, but it's
Great. So you
great
know,
dinner party conversation.
Absolutely. So when I'm dead and gone, then you have all of these stories to regale everyone with. That's the positive side of things, right?
Sure. Is that why you did it?
Yeah. It's leave legacies of experiences, of stories that you can tell. Otherwise, life will be blah, no?
I didn't see it that way at the time, but I'm starting to see things your way slowly. I feel like my wounds are healing. It's been over 10 years. It's about time.
So what were your top 4 good memories and bad memories of your campus mom and dad when you were in grade 11, 12, and in college?
My favorite memory of my campus mom and dad would be, there's lore to this. You have to understand the
Well,
backstory.
just headline it for now.
Yeah. So like, okay, we were on this trip. My board results come in. Daddy here doesn't even believe I got above 90. He doesn't believe it. He's like, there's something wrong. Can you recheck it
Well,
again?
I was proud, no doubt, but I just...
He wanted to verify.
Yeah, just trust but verify. Ronald Reagan taught me that.
Yeah, he was just like, can you just double check it like one more time before I tell her, so she doesn't like break her heart, God forbid
Or
it's
before
wrong.
I put it on Facebook. Right?
And so I think that was the first time you and mom were kind of open to actually letting me explore my academic.
What was your academic interest? What did you want to do in college? What was your plan first? I know plans change. What was your first plan?
I wanted to be in fashion.
You like and top 4 things that you wish didn't happen.
So the things I like is that you guys let me do whatever I wanted. I feel like after I got that 90%, it gave me like a sort of
Get out of
a
jail
chit,
free.
yeah, a clean chit, a renewed sense of faith and confidence in my abilities, both for me and for you guys.
That's something you need to, focus on here. Is if you're a college gal listening to this, or if you're a parent listening to this, it's a give and take. To earn the trust of a parent, you've got to deliver what is expected of you at that time of your life. It's not an expectation because they own you. It's an expectation because that's the result of their raising you for a purpose of your life. And on the other hand, parents, if they have displayed a sense of achievement, cut them a little slack. Maybe they will achieve more if they're out of the shackles of your, limited but good intentioned upbringing. Right? So, next.
So yeah, you guys let me do whatever I wanted. I remember in 11th grade, I was exploring. So I really love the arts, right? So liberal arts. And for the longest time, I was sort of under the impression I wouldn't be able to go abroad to study.
Why is that?
Cha-ching.
Money.
No, I mean, I feel like that was a big part of it. It's not cheap.
So why? Were parents not willing to fund it?
I don't know that they weren't willing to fund it. I think my dad,
That's me.
That's you. You funded your own education. And I feel like that sort of value was instilled in us. And so I think initially it was just, why bother? Science is better in India anyway. This is better in India anyway. That slowly changed over the years when you realize science was not my thing. Like, no matter how hard I tried, and then
you faked us with that math score.
Yeah, I mean, I did what I had to do, but like I was miserable, right? And so I recently got diagnosed with ADHD, but like before, my ADHD brain was clearly like, I like arts, I like humanities, history, English, literature was one of my favorite subjects.
Were you forced not to do that?
I wasn't forced not to do it. It was just not challenging enough for me to even realize.
No, I'm talking from your parents' perspective. Were you pressured into going into a certain thing and not going into a certain thing at all?
I wasn't pressured. Initially, you never pressured me for sure because
I didn't know which grade you were in anyway. So.
Yeah, and also it's like pot calling the kettle black. Like, you and math are like enemies as well. So I would have been very upset if you had tried to push me into that.
Yeah, but for me, it was like, I screwed up. There is no reason you should.
Beti kar legi.
Beti baap ka naam roshan karegi kind of thing.
I mean, I did in different ways, though, just not in math, man.
You did, 91.
Yeah.
Hey, that's more than I can ever dream of getting.
And so, yeah, exactly. And so once I knew that if I had to push claim to shove and I had to do it, I could do it. Do I want to do it going forward? No. And you guys respected that for me.
So what's the number 3?
So number 3 is that you guys, I don't know, you let me make my mistakes.
Did you make any that
I feel like
that I don't know about?
when I say make my mistakes, after 11th grade, I remember coming to you saying I don't want to go to school anymore. And I wouldn't call that a mistake, but you probably thought it was a mistake at the time because you weren't sure, first of all, why is this kid coming to me telling me she doesn't want to go to school? Second of all, who would allow that? Like, what parent in their sane mind would say yes? So you guys were clearly insane because you did eventually say yes. You guys respected me enough, I think, to hear me out. I knew it would be hard. I knew I didn't expect a yes right off the bat, but you guys did hear me out. I did come to you with a plan of action. I had shown in the past that I was capable of, being disciplined enough. You knew what the stakes were in terms of me having to take certain exams to be, ready to come on this trip with you guys.
Yeah, let me stop you right there and just give you a little background, okay? As a campus dad, I was obviously, and the single breadwinner in the family for most of our lives. My focus was to make sure that I can afford even the school she went to. So, not an excuse, but I knew I had faith in the work that my wife was doing as a homemaker to keep that under control, so I didn't have to worry so much about it. There is this... Well, I wasn't the greatest student in the world. Not academically. Did I learn life lessons quick? Yeah, I did. Not the place I would go for knowledge. Even now, I don't read, but I read people. I read situations. I read things. I read how the world works. And I get what I need to. So I wanted to give her the sense of that sort of learning. And therefore, with my wife's consent, I think we gave you a get out of jail free card because I failed 1 year of my education, right? I failed my first year in college, all 3 subjects.
They forced him to do math.
That was maths, economics, and statistics. So you see where it came from. Because I was sort of pressured to go into a BSc course. Subliminal pressure. It's not like my parents pressured me, but, I had a brother who went to med school and is going to become a neurosurgeon. And here, if I get into a BA course, what'll that make me look like? So I went and I did that BSc stuff and failed. Of course, I ended up in a BA eventually, like you. In the arts. So she got a get out of jail free card, both she and her brother, where I told her that and him that you can fail 1 year, you can pick which year you want to fail. Now, what did that tell you? What was going on in your mind when we were saying something like that?
I really appreciated the support. This might sound really cocky, but I knew that I wouldn't. So although it gave me
what was the
a
consequence?
sense, the consequence was. Yo, go out there, do what you want. If you do, quote unquote fail, then it's our turf, our rules, my way or the highway. And that was a terrible proposition. So failure was not an option, clearly. As someone who loved her independence and valued her own thinking and sort of grew up a little faster than maybe you would have liked me to. So yeah, I came to you saying, get me out of school. Y'all are paying fees. I don't like it there.
She made a business proposition. Right?
Yeah, it was a whole PowerPoint presentation with timelines etched out. How was I going to study by myself? How was I going to apply to colleges by myself? What's my game plan? And for what it's worth, I had a game plan and I executed it over the year throughout that 8 months. And I think you guys saw that on a daily basis because I was home.
Yeah, speaking of, you've heard of work from home because COVID actually forced us into that kind of lifestyle. But I saw that she had the capability of studying from home. Because working from home or studying from home requires a certain kind of discipline. It's easy to get distracted. And I see a lot of people working from home, but also doing more of their personal stuff and are swayed into things that are niggling you at, I've got to get this sorted. I've got to get that sorted. While in the office, you're never thinking about that stuff. So it's a very mature situation to be in when you have to work from home and self-discipline and self-regulate your time and time management. So I guess we saw that you could do it.
And it was such a great lesson. I wouldn't have learned it had I not gone through that. Because when you're in school, everything's kind of regimented for you. You blindly follow what somebody else is telling you to do and
Correct.
how they tell you to do it. And in this case, with great power comes great responsibility. And I realized that I had to give myself homework and make myself accountable when I don't do it. And that was something that's a life lesson I'm still reaping the benefits of that today.
So did you quit in grade 11 or 12?
I quit in 11 because, so I did A-levels. When you guys realized that science was just not possible for me, I think I made a strong case also for doing A-levels. I was like, look, maybe I won't go abroad. Maybe, that's fine. But I want to learn. I was a nerd, I love knowledge. I love learning.
Well, selectively.
Selectively, if I liked what I was learning about.
I got to tell you something about this girl. Okay. She had to study Hindi in school. And she didn't want to study Hindi because she was a American-born confused desi who came back to India and got even more confused. And how did you get out of it?
Rumor has it she's still confused.
No, I'm talking about Hindi.
Oh, I'm still confused. The Hindi I got out of because of jugaad. So I had this friend who, wasn't the brightest, bulb in the room. But
and believe me, I was obviously a little oblivious till it actually happened, and then the story was told to me on how it happened.
Yeah, so this person told me that they were getting out of Hindi, and I was just like, no way, how? And he told me, I went to the Spastic Society of Karnataka, and they gave me a test and they exempted me, and I was like, it's that easy. But I had to strategize, right? Because my issue was I was doing well. I was a good student. So how was I going to get out of this
that.
situation? So I think that was my first strategic comms exercise ever. I was like, this was all about framing and angling and making it look like it's the right decision for them. But what I ended up convincing them was, hey, look, I've got like 90, 90, 90 in like everything. My Hindi average is dragging me down. Neither of my parents speak it's not my mother tongue either. I'm doing really badly. I don't understand this language. I'm going to go back to America. I mean, I lied, but like, I don't need this. And listen, I can speak Hindi, read and write just fine, right? Do I need to like go into Hindi literature? Like every one of those things was like a sas bahu cereal. I could feel my brain cells dying. So I was desperate to get out of this. So I went in there. They took a test on everything. I scored fairly well, and I had to prove my point about the Hindi. So, the Oscar goes to, because I was just like, papita. I'm like, what's it? Tra? I think by the end of that performance, she was convinced that, this was the right decision for them to take. What I didn't count for, unfortunately, was her coming back and telling my mom, I know you applied for this Hindi exemption, but we also offer a math exemption. I actually tried for that one.
And how did your mom react to that one? Again, I wasn't there, so I don't know. I'm hearing all this for the first time, by the way. I just know it happened. I didn't know what happened.
She was so embarrassed. I swear. Her face turned tomato red, and she was just like, she didn't say anything. She just looked at me and squeezed my arm. And I was just like, I tried. I did my best. And clearly they think that's the exemption I should be going for. But then I flipped it around. I was like, look, if you exempt me from Hindi, I'll use that extra time I get and I'll improve my math score and it'll all be all's dandy. And it worked. I got out of Hindi scot-free. And my math, it did improve for what it's worth. So it was a win in my book.
Well, good. I'm glad it worked out for you. Have you played any of these stunts with your parents to get the things you want? And it's time to come clean.
No, because you guys see through my bullshit. You guys are like my partners in crime. I can like put wool over everybody else's eyes. Unfortunately, y'all aren't one of them. So no.
No, you didn't even try?
It was futile because like between the both of you, you can read me like a book, I feel. So it's just there's no point in trying.
Let's get to the more important things. What are the top 3 things or 4 things that you wished were different in your parent campus gal relationship?
This is so corny, but I'm a true believer in like what happens for the best. I don't feel like there is anything that you guys could have done differently when I was in college. Truly.
You think we were perfect parents? I mean, is there such a thing?
I mean, as far as like my college life was concerned.
Well, yeah, this is about college life.
Yeah. Okay, but here's the issue, right?
Okay.
Along with my college life, even though I was getting all the grades and, the right internships and all of that, there was just like a storm brewing on the side because I got my first boyfriend my freshman year of college.
Uh-oh.
And I feel like the only point of contention in those years, it was never my academics or y'all left me alone pretty much after I topped India and all of that shebang.
Oh, so you topped India? Where?
In 12th grade, after I did the homeschooling, I was kind of like a woman on a mission, and I like went overboard, or maybe I was empowered to really do my best and be my best self. And I don't know how, but like I ended up topping the country in psychology in my A-levels. And then I got straight A's across the board. I also ranked super high globally as well. And I think that's what gave me the confidence to like go and pursue what I wanted to, anything I wanted to do academically.
I remember when we got the results on that, the school sent it to us on email, to me actually. I was the emergency contact or whatever. It wasn't going to my wife's email. So I was looking at it. I know. I remember I was sitting on my bed, and she wasn't in the room, and I'm like, fifth in the country on this subject, topping the world on this subject. I'm like, no, something's wrong here. And inside, I'm like, I'm hoping it's true. I'm hoping it's true. I'm hoping it's true, because that's probably the first time, since we are being honest, that my chhati was 56 inches. I felt the kind of pride that brought tears to my eyes. And I thought, yeah, she'll be okay from here on. But then comes the boyfriend.
Da 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 da.
So tell me about your college life. Where did you end up? Why did you end up there?
Okay, so I had a fun getting into college experience. So I think I got very used to this freedom I had in this non-school homeschool year. I did very well, so I was running on that high, and I was trying to get into college. I wanted to do fashion, and I, for whatever reason, wasn't convinced that a fashion degree was going to help me.
Yeah, we weren't either. So we
Yeah.
were like thinking, oh my God, after using all of this potential she had, and she's going into fashion. Not that I think any less of that industry, but I don't think very highly of it either.
And he made that known. So that was another point of contention initially, because I was like, okay, let's maybe look at fashion school. And at the time, I wasn't even looking at like design school. I was looking at going into being in fashion communications, which was so niche, right? And I'm so glad you didn't dissuade me from it. What you did was let me find out on my own. So I took a gap year after my 12th grade.
So what's a gap year for those who are less acquainted with this?
So the idea of a gap year for me really was take some time to figure out what it is I want to do with my life, because no matter what, your education is an investment, especially higher education. It's an investment in your time, money, energy, effort, and some of the most important years of your life, that too. So I really, really wanted to be sure that whatever I go into, I kind of go into it with some knowledge or understanding of myself, which I had none of. No self-awareness, right? I was kind of on robot mode. Everything is just till the next, the next board exam, the next this. And so when I didn't have that, suddenly it was like, who am I?
You got used to overachieving, so that's all you were going for.
And it was hard because I had to come to terms with, again, okay, what do I like? What do I want to be in this world? And those are some really tough questions to ask yourself.
And were you dealing
at
with
that
this all
age.
by yourself, or did you have your campus dad and campus mom involved, or your brother, in fact?
I had my whole family involved as a sounding board. Admittedly, 90% was like in my brain. That's just how I process. That's how a lot of people process, particularly women. You know, they're just so in their heads about it. But I feel like after meditating on it over like a summer, I decided I wasn't ready for the commitment of picking my, subject now and sticking through it for 3 years. And I didn't want to invest that time, effort, energy, or money, especially if it is my parents' money, to do something that I was not convinced of. I don't think anyone should do anything they're not entirely convinced of.
Changing her life's ambition, like fashion of Bombay's high street. And we didn't know what to hang our hats on. There came a time when she wanted fashion. Then it became lawyer.
There was a progression there, though.
Then it became
all guided by you, by the way.
Then tell me I was not right.
You were right and wrong.
Always. And then it became, I want to be the president of the United States of America. I mean, I'm telling you, with what we've got now, it might not have been a bad idea. And but it never happened. So as a parent, we were like, come on, something's got to be sticking. With all that discipline, let me tell you some things here now. With all that discipline that we saw that she displayed during her high school and college years, where she self-taught herself, but that discipline just stayed because you had to achieve the now. It didn't stay because you had to achieve the there. And to get there, you've got to tread this path. So that kept changing, and therefore your path kept changing. And we were like, what is going on? Because that was surprising for us. We thought your focus existed, but it existed here. It didn't exist in vision and going for a vision. And that's what gave us a lot of stress, which we didn't quite translate much to you, but between us, we were like, what's she going to do? What's she going to do? What's she going to end up with?
I think you're still having those
conversations. I still
conversations.
have those things, yes. I still have those conversations. And when she said, I want to be the president of the United States, I thought there was a glint of focus in that part. So she went into political science. Why did you take political science?
You're going to hate my answer to this. So after my gap year, long story short, did some internships, modeled a little, worked in the fashion industry as a writer, interned with Femina magazine. So I saw things from different sides of the industry. I saw things from designers' perspectives, models' perspectives, writers' perspectives. All the glam disappeared. And so for that, I'm very grateful I took that gap year because
you know what you didn't want to do.
I knew exactly what I didn't want to do. I knew I'm grateful for that opportunity to explore.
And that said, you're now putting your word out there so I can be your fashion stylist.
Yeah, and that's something that I knew but that solidified that for me. I knew for a fact that it was going to be a part of my life in one way or another. Did I have to make a career out of it at the time? Did I have to base an education off of it at the time? No. In fact, I was very disillusioned with the entire fashion industry and I wanted nothing to do with it by the end of the gap year. So you and Mom were very happy about this. You were like, okay, good. She learned her lesson. Like this phase is over. Then I it was like, okay, if not fashion, what?
And here's what we told her. I said, okay, our job as parents are to educate you in the best way we can and afford. I see parents doing this, and this is something I need to bring up. You as campus gals and guys also, and parents. We bend over backwards to the point we hurt ourselves just to satiate certain requirements the children have with the guilt that, oh, we didn't have all of this, so we've got to do all of this for our children. Now, even in India, the great schools in India are not cheap. But the regular colleges, like in Bangalore, where we now live, you have the Mount Carmel College, which is where my mom went. So we knew about it. It's because of the alumni status, all of that. But there are Christ, and there's all the Tier 1 colleges, Joseph's. So we told her that, listen, you need an education. We're happy to pay for it in these colleges. If you want anything fancier than this, I am not going to kill. I mean, it's not like I was doing great professionally that I had boatloads of money coming in. Even if I did, that's not the kind of value system we wanted to inculcate in the children, especially during college. If they wanted something, they had to work for it. If they wanted to go abroad and study, they had to work for it and pay for it themselves. Because all I could afford was an education in India. Not even the fancy colleges, which you end up going to for 1 year, Ashoka University, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't cheap either.
No, it was not. It was very difficult to make that year happen.
It was difficult for us, at least at the financial and professional stage I was in at that time. Right now, things are okay. But the rule was, no, I'm not going to kill myself and get myself a heart attack just so you can satiate some kind of dream that has no meaning for us right now. Because undergraduate courses in a foreign land is not worth the expense unless you want it for bragging rights. Unless you want to say that, hey, my kid studies over there, so your societal image is a lot better. But the truth is, for the amount you pay over there, especially with the exchange rate, I mean, even if you live there, not every American can afford college. It's not cheap.
It's true.
And it's 4 years of it. So parents and kids, be smart about this. Make a deal with your parents. Tell them, if you give me all that money, I will put it away, invest it, get yourself an apartment or whatever for that money. You will get one. If you put all that money into a savings account, perhaps in 10 years you won't have to work again because that money will make money for you. And you won't need that education that is so generic. But for a master's degree, that's different.
It's funny you say that because I have almost the opposite. I agree with you, but my experience gave me kind of the opposite feeling.
What is that?
So it's that when I found my undergrad to be my most useful degree and my master's to be just the biggest waste of time and money I've ever experienced. And I'll tell you why.
So she went first to Mount Carmel College for how many months?
I think it was 3.
And why did you drop out?
Well, it's because you guys, okay, here's the thing, right? I didn't go to school in 12th grade, so there was no guidance counselor out there telling me how to navigate this whole foreign university thing. All my friends were applying.
And we were thinking that we were the guidance counselors.
So yeah, these guys were my guidance counselors, and they were so proud of me, and bless their souls, they were like, "You have the grades, aim for the sky," and I did. I did. I applied to 3 colleges. It was Columbia University, Stanford University, and the Wharton School of Business. Okay, not even the School of Arts.
This is for undergrad.
For undergrad. The Wharton School of Business. I don't know with what sort of my God complex I expected to get into all 3. By some jugard, I ended up getting into Columbia. I didn't get into Stanford. I didn't get into Wharton.
Thank God.
Thank God. And then I was like, oh, this is great. But then how the hell am I going to pay for it? Like, reality check came really quick because these guys took a step back and they were like, not it, right? So I was like, okay, let's get a loan. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I guess the universe was just redirecting me at this point because it just didn't work out. And the costs were astronomical. And I remember we were also having a lot of like back and forth because I feel like internally you guys really wanted me to go, especially mom.
Yeah.
Mom really wanted me to go, and she really felt bad that we couldn't afford it at the time. And yes, I was frustrated because I had applied to no other college, mind you. No other college. I'd already taken a gap year. So this was a bit of a conundrum. Either I cough up the money and go live this dream of mine, or,
And your mom's.
And my mom's, or figure out the next step and move on. I did, right? So you guys were like, listen, no more gap years. I think you got sick of my face. So you wanted me out of the house.
Oh, that'll never happen.
Little bit.
Now we're probably there, but then we weren't.
So I went to Mount Carmel College because at the time I had to get admission somewhere. And Indian colleges, their admission cycle is like much earlier than other schools abroad. And also the liberal arts schools like Ashoka, Flame, and this and that. But I had not given up on my US dream.
Yeah, but
I was
why
just
did you
humbled.
quit Mount Carmel College?
Because I still wanted to go to America. I knew that I could.
But you ended up in Ashoka University. How did that work out?
So now
why did you get to Ashoka University? Doing
what? I had
what?
to leapfrog. I was like, okay, I'm here now. How do I get there? I have to be in America because I believe that education system is going to help me personally as a student of the arts. And so I had to transfer. I couldn't lose one more year.
Okay, so you're going to believe all of this, but I think because she had that boyfriend who lived there and she had to get out there. And she was doing whatever it takes.
No,
that would convince us academically. If she had asked us, say, hey, I want to go to the US because my boyfriend's there, she knew the answer.
No, that's not why though, because I went to Ashoka before I even met Manav. So that's not, you don't do that to me. That's not fair. I went to Ashoka because it was one of the only colleges in India where my credits would transfer. So if I did the 1 year in Ashoka, I could just transfer to my second year in the US when I move, if I got in.
So if you do the math, 1 year of education in the US undergraduate course, that's your bachelor's degree, would cost anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 a year.
Easily. And international was higher. Yeah.
As an international student.
Yeah.
Right? And Ashoka would cost 10 lakhs.
10.
At that time was 10 lakhs. I don't know what it is now. Per year. So I was doing the math in my head. I'm like, okay, so out of the 4 years of paying $40,000 each year, 1 year is done with 10 lakhs.
Which was still a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah, it was, but it was less than $40,000. And we somehow scraped up that money and we gave it there. Then why did you leave?
I had to make a deal with mom because we both knew going into this Ashoka year, I had 1 year to get my shit together.
You know
I had,
you can't use that word here, right?
I had 1 year to get my
Act
poopy together.
together.
And no, seriously though, she was like, if you do not make it to America after this year, you're on your own, girly. Like that was,
Yeah, we didn't have enough money for a second year of fees at Ashoka
yeah.
University.
So I would have to leave there anyway.
Come back to Mount Carmel
Risky
College.
business. So, but I was just so dead set on following this path for myself. I truly believed in it, that I said, okay, fine. Give me 1 year and I'll show you. Now, in this 1 year, you said how political science, this and that. Ashoka University was something else, I'll tell you. It was the first time I was really by myself. It was the first time I was making every single decision from morning to night by myself. I was getting to know who I was outside of the comfort of my home and my hometown, where, nobody knew who I was.
Is this an experience most campus gals should have?
I think it is. Many girls, even if you're not, in a school like Ashoka, they come from far and wide to study in different places, Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Pune, and they, whether you're in a PG or you're roughing it out, I feel like that experience is so pivotal to who I am today. Why? Because that's the year I made all the mistakes I shall never talk about. I will take them to my grave.
What's the fun in that?
No, I will not take them to my grave. But I definitely am not proud of a lot of decisions I made in that year. But I think everybody needs that time, because at the end of the day, your parents are there for you. They're there with you, but they're not going to be around you 100% of the time. And so finding out who you are outside of that, without that pressure, without that, constant eye over your shoulder, that's something else. You are responsible for yourself. You are accountable suddenly now just for yourself. And the decisions you make in that time are more telling of who you are than the decisions I would be making back at home with external pressures of, I want to please my parents. I don't want to disappoint them.
You don't want to please us. Is that what are you saying that now?
No, I do. But I feel like that I'm a
have to.
people pleaser, right? So for me, all the decisions I was making was kind of around those expectations. And over the course of this 1 year where I was lost, let me tell you, it's not a fun story that ends well. I might have been the most depressed I was in my life. I found out that like the true value of real friendship I found in my parents and my brother at the time.
We love you
at
too.
the end of the day, I was surrounded by a whole bunch of strangers, and I just wanted to go back to my dorm room and like call my dad and be like, okay, here's what went down. But that was my decision. And that was a journey I had to come to by myself.
So during that time, I was driving around India promoting organ donation awareness. And I was somewhere in Nagpur, some rural area of Nagpur. This vision will never leave my head. And she calls me, hey, Dad. And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And we're talking, and I'm driving this big lorry, okay? It's not even a car. It's this big, huge truck. And I could plug it in saying you can go watch some of those stories on our YouTube channel called Gift of Life Adventure. And the next thing I hear is, I have a boyfriend. And I almost crashed into the Ganne ke khet on my right or my left. The sugarcane, right? That's all sugarcane belt. And I'm like, whoa, what? I don't think I was prepared for it. She was 19. I mean, at 19 you will have boyfriends, but it's my little girl. So what was that like for you when you broke the news?
I was so scared. I didn't know what I was doing. And I was really afraid of, like I said, disappointing anybody. I think that's the lesson that was the toughest for me, was how do I stay true to myself? When you find that identity outside of your family, it is a constant battle to stay true to your roots and where you come from and who, raised you. And at the same time, stay true to that independent woman that you see yourself becoming, and her values and her aspirations. And that was the biggest struggle for me. It wasn't that, oh, I have a boyfriend. It was more so I saw a lot of clash in, let me tell you, I was raised to be an independent woman, financially independent, don't need no man, marriage sucks, like don't get married. The institution of marriage was constantly like crapped on by by my mom and dad both. So that's just the context I come from. So me just having a boyfriend, to me, I guess it had the opposite effect. I didn't have a boyfriend until I knew it could be something serious or meaningful. And I think that's what scared you. I think that's what freaked you out, because I could have had many boyfriends over the years if the opportunity presented itself many times. And I chose not to, because, they weren't worth it. And, you would raise me to expect a certain standard for myself when it came to a partner, or just the people in my life, friend even. But B, also because I think I was starting to feel like this was right for me. And that was difficult to come to terms with, because you felt that was wrong for me. And we were both on very opposite sides, and getting us to meet in the middle, especially when you have emotions evolved on both sides, especially when that relationship grew and it started becoming something deeper on my end, that was really tough to juggle.
Yeah, because no man's ever good for your daughter.
I've learned that. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. It could have been a Zuzu from the Vodafone ads, and my dad would have been tripping.
Yeah, so Ashoka University was clearly very eventful in your life.
I started taking political science because it was a really hot professor that everyone was gushing over. And I was like, okay, I want this class. That was
A hot professor.
That was the first political science class I'd ever taken. I was hooked.
Oh, by the way, that professor recently was in a hot soup. It's the same guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. For being anti-national or something like that.
But at the time, all the girls were going all goo goo gaga. And I was like, okay, I'll take this class too. It looks interesting. That was literally it. There was no thought behind it. I was not political at all. I barely watched the news.
At that time, what were you planning to do in life? I mean, usually people take courses that would help in getting to their chosen career. So this was what?
I went to college with a singular goal. Learn as much as I can about as much as I can, because at the end of the day, it was genetics for me, right? I was good at writing. I was writing through my internships. I love that aspect.
Yeah, my mom was a prolific writer, so genetics.
And, I knew I wanted to be in the media and communication space because of all the exposure I've had over the years to it, being, in your life and you giving me that exposure at a very young age. But at the same time, I couldn't bring myself to go do a BA in journalism.
She went on air when she was 2 years old on that radio show that I was hosting at the time in the US. And what was that? You want to talk about what was your line on that show?
You are listening to Anil Ki Awaaz. We're on 103.3 FM, WPRB, Princeton, New Jersey.
Yeah, there was more. मैं अपनी डैडी की 3 साल की बेटी हूँ. मेरा बचपना तो है, मगर बाप रे बाप मेरा डैडी का बचपना नहीं गया.
Still the case.
Okay, well, maybe we'll actually play the real stuff. We have recordings of that, so.
But yeah, I knew I didn't want to go to journalism school, because from the way I saw it, how are you going to write about the world if you don't know anything about it? So this education that I was seeking was a very good opportunity for me to broaden my horizons and learn about the world, because I was right now head in book till this point. I had no idea what the world was like around me. And you just can't be a good writer if you don't know what you're writing about. It just...
Her first writing exercise was discipline. See, writing, if you want to be a writer, you need discipline. Your talent is not going to help you. You've got to sit down there and start writing every day till it becomes a habit. Otherwise, you're just in your mind, yeah, I'm a good writer, but what have you written? Not much. Why? Because you have no discipline. So here's the other exercise that she hated, of course, that we made her do. We had a lot of fights about this. So when we were driving from Bangalore to Scotland, by road, of course, her job was to blog the experience every day. And she wouldn't. She hated road trips. She found out she hated road trips.
Yeah, I found out.
And but we still had to do that discipline. Now, have you gone back to those writings? I mean, it's on our website, giftoflifeadventure.com. But did that help in any way? I mean, I thought it should help. That's a parent talking, but did it?
I think it helped in the sense of, if you want to get into this field, you have to do it even if you don't like it. And that's where it helped, because up until that point, it was whenever inspiration would strike, or, whenever I felt like it.
Yeah, your editor is not going to ask about that.
Exactly. So at this point, it was like, inspiration's not striking. I am tired. I am like car sick, and I still have to get to the hotel and write these, like, even if it was 250, 300, 500 words, whatever the case, when you're not in that mindset, even 2 words is almost impossible. So that was a very big lesson for me in testing that kind of discipline, or it was tested. And that's why we had the fights about it, because naturally I wasn't perfect at it right off the bat, but it was good. I'm glad I had to do it. Do I love everything I wrote? I mean, not necessarily.
Well, at the time it was appropriate.
Yeah,
because
at
you
the time.
evolve, even in content creation. Now, I've been doing radio since I was 7 years old, but if I listen to my recordings when I was 20 as opposed to now, it's always different. So
Do you feel cringe?
I do feel cringe. In fact, if you go to the campusgal.in website, some of my older shows were there. I think it's called Amne Samne with some Bollywood celebrities. And I listened to that. I'm like, oh my God, is that me? It's embarrassing, but it's still out there just to keep me honest.
It's where you came from.
Right. So you finished up with Ashoka. You ended up where after that? You wanted to go and transfer those credits.
So I had to transfer those credits. I had to do it in a way that I could pay for. So luckily at the same time, my brother now has seen all my younger brother, 2 years younger, but 1 year behind me academically because I took a gap year. And so now he's applying to colleges as well.
And there's no way I can afford 2 children in college in America. Not happening.
Right. So we both knew, that our goose was cooked if we did not figure a solution out to this. And so we were each other's biggest support during the time. He learned from my mistakes and did not apply to, crazy, expensive Ivy League schools that he may not even get into. So we both kind of came down to Mother Earth. We're like, okay, Rutgers is a good public school. Luckily, we're U.S. citizens, so we're not considered international. My mom had to hustle, to make sure we got that residency, to get in-state tuition. And once our deal was, listen, if you can help us get in-state tuition, we'll pay for it. No matter what, we'll take care of it. And so that was like a huge family effort, I think, on that part for that entire year. The goal was to have my brother and me together, which I think also gave you some sort of solace knowing that your kids were together in a foreign country.
As parents, our single-minded approach to parenting was to ensure that the 2 siblings were inseparable. It was our way, and every parent's wish. Most don't turn out because of other issues like property and things like that, was that they are always there for each other, regardless of who they have in their lives as spouses or friends or whatever, that they can bank on each other. And for us, keeping them together for as long, because I was separated from my brother when I was 16, because he went to med school and I went wherever. And so that was not negotiable. They had to be together. And I know when they're together, they'll figure things out and find a way to be close.
So we were together, and, we made it to the States with all of my, if people eat like this, I clearly like eating like this. But we made it, right? And so...
How did you pay for all those education?
At the time, I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. To be very honest, I was winging it. It was literally one day at a time. Kal dekha jayega. Is the bill here yet? No? Okay, I'm going to worry about it later. And so eventually, though, I luckily really leaned into my academics. I knew that I have a lot of chronic illnesses. So college was hard on, not related to my studies, not related to my career, but related to my personal life in terms of like my relationship and my family dynamic and me coming into my own personally. And B, because I was also dealing with a lot of health issues, massive health issues.
And this was COVID time.
During COVID time, exactly. And so that was a major shift that was one of the biggest life googlies, I think, that the universe threw at me, was you take away your health and your just perspective on life completely changes.
So as they say, when health is lost, everything is lost.
And it was. To a large extent, it was lost because I was protected by the universe in a couple of ways, and I'll tell you how. Now, how did I pay for college? Because I had to do well in school. So there was that pressure of, okay, I have to keep doing well in school. But now there's also this medical issue I'm dealing with. And then COVID came almost like a blessing, I would say. As terrible as that sounds, you find your silver linings in every cloud. And that was mine because suddenly everything became from home. College became remote. And I was progressively getting sicker and sicker and unable to, go to campus. And, it is strenuous walking across large campuses in the cold, especially in the wintertime. It takes a toll on your body. And I was unable to do that. I was so afraid I would have to drop out. I was so scared I'd have to drop out of school. And COVID hit. And suddenly I was like, okay, maybe I can actually do this.
Yeah, so you came into your natural surrounding because you like to work on your own.
It worked out for me.
Not in a classroom.
It worked out for me. I will say this. By the end of it, I got my grades. I taught my university.
How did you pay for all of this?
I applied to all the scholarships I could, got them too. And by the end of it, I did the math. Rutgers actually paid me to attend college. So that's just a really fun
every year
flex.
they gave you a scholarship because of your grades?
Yeah. So every year I got a scholarship, but then also different scholarships based on the subjects I was studying. So for example, there was a scholarship in the School of Labor Studies, and I didn't have any classes there. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a double major. So now I'm going to do this other, now that I take this other, at first I was like, okay, I'll do a minor. So then I realized I won't qualify for the scholarship if I didn't make it a double major. So I was like, okay, I guess we're doing a double major now. And they gave me $5,000 and I was like, okay, that's half my tuition right there. Right. So those were the things that were, sort of shaping my decisions at the time. People ask, like, why labor studies? Like, why would you do that? I'm like, poli-sci wasn't paying me. Like, I don't know what to say.
Grad school in the US, and I was teaching anthropology. I didn't even know what that meant till I got to that school. But it gave me an assistantship, which took care of my tuition.
They don't do that anymore.
I just wanted you guys to understand the value of money and the value of getting what you want with your own hard work and not depending on your parents and feeling entitled to it. And kids, really, your parents work hard all day, all year, all their lives. And they save up some money for their time when they are not able to do that, while you have the rest of your life ahead of you. So don't put pressure on that. It's unfair, really. They might want to do it for you because you asked, but just be careful what you ask for. They might give it to you, and then there'll come a time when they need it, you're not in a position to help them. But you are the reason for depleting all the stuff that they had their work for. While you could have done it with a little discomfort on your own and then felt proud. Did you feel proud?
Heck yeah. Like, even to this day, I feel like I have complete ownership and creds. Really, no one can street cred, right? No one can turn around and be like, "Oh, baap ke paise ura rahe ho," or like whatever, because a lot of girls get that. And mind you, I did get the scholarships, but I also worked throughout college.
You had a job.
I had a job. So I worked part-time in various odd jobs. I worked as a tutor. I taught kids English.
But that's ironical, isn't it? You worked as a tutor.
I know.
Well, she went to tuition classes in school.
I never thought that day would come, but it did. And I taught children English. I worked as a poll worker. So I was just like out in the cold, like during election season, being like, please like vote. Got a lot of galis and build character that way. That also builds character. It's funny because I read this. Apparently people are now doing something called rejection sensitizing, where they're sensitizing themselves to rejection so that they like are able to cope with it better in life. And I think that's like 100% necessary.
Is that a course in college now? Should be.
It's like an app. Like I saw an app. There's an app for everything now, but there's like an app where you go and they've gamified it. So they give you all these challenges where everything on that list is you're 100% going to get rejected, right? You know right off the bat you're going to get rejected, but you still have to complete all the tasks on the list to kind of make you not care anymore.
It's not caring about the result, but the process.
Exactly.
And that's really what the Bhagavad Gita is saying, this karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, and the rest of it. Right? It's really telling you that focus on the process. Don't worry about the result.
Exactly. And also having a job also taught me that, because you realize nothing is beneath you. Hard work is hard work. And at the end of the day, if it's a stepping stone to whatever it is you want to achieve in life, there is respect in that and self-respect in that. Whether or not the rest of the world can see it or they even know about your journey, you go to bed feeling proud of yourself every night, and there's no price you can put on that. So yeah, I did a bunch of odd jobs, and then I worked. Eventually, I think I started getting more relevant internships and stuff like that to my academic interests.
And how did you get internships in a country that you didn't really grow up in?
That was a really hard one, because you've always said your network is your net worth. And that was a struggle for me, because almost all my time was going and making sure I was getting the grades and making sure I was getting money to put food on the table and stuff like that. That I think I definitely took a backseat when it came to networking with people. Mm-hmm. I feel like I could have done more of that to get better opportunities than I did. I was just so stuck on survival mode, honestly.
That's the one thing you didn't listen to me about.
Yeah, I didn't have any friends, and that add my health issues to all of that, and I just didn't have the bandwidth for it. And if now, it's easy for me to look back and say, oh, I should have just joined a sorority. Like Surya, my brother, he joined a frat. That worked out for him.
Well,
he has a lot of friends.
Speaking of sororities, at Campus Gal here, we're creating what we call the Campus Gal Squad. And it's nothing but a sorority.
Yeah.
Where the intention is for all of you to gather together, bond with each other, learn about each other, become friends, or at least supportive of each other. Create that sisterhood. Every college can have its own Campus Gal Squad. But every once in a while, each of you can meet each other, because your first network starts with your own college mates. You never know where someone's ending up in life that could also help you, or you could help them. So that sisterhood, which does not exist in the culture of campus life in India, is what we are trying to inculcate over here, and giving you the benefit of that, where when you pass out of college, you end up continuing to be in that sisterhood and look back and help the girls coming into the real world behind you. So it's creating an entire system of mentorship. It's going to take a while, but if you don't join the Gal Squad, you might end up losing out.
I wish I had that. I really do. I wish there was an easier way for women to connect. Because let me tell you something. In that gap year, when I did all this fashion stuff, I was also doing modeling and pageantry. And that's when I truly the first time in my life, experienced this sisterhood thing, right? This idea
the pageant contestants together.
Exactly, of women uplifting
What pageant
each
was
other. I went for different ones, but the most memorable for me was, I think it was like Femina Style Diva South or something like that.
Okay.
And it was memorable for me because pretty girls get a bad rep for modeling in general gets a bad rep, right? I had a friend once be like, oh, you're modeling? I thought you were smart. And I was hell-bent on changing that narrative, first of all. That's a whole other thing. But the women I met while doing this, they were so unconditionally supportive. They took your insecurities, and by the end of it, they made you feel like it was your biggest asset. And it's just something that if you had said the same thing, it wouldn't have worked.
Sure, yeah.
But a group of 3 other girls who I've met like 5 minutes ago, kind of giving me that reassurance, there's something magical in that. And that's something I think is very unique to women. Yeah, you can say women are... Until then, I had a very negative view of women. I was bullied a lot in school and things like that. By women. So I was always hanging out with the guys, and I had I was very nervous around women. because I was always worried they were talking behind my back about me or whatever, that they're catty or gossipy, and that may be the case. But when you find your people, you feel like Superwoman, and you don't need many. You just need maybe 2 or 3. Like to this day, I'm so grateful to God I went to Mount Carmel College, because even though I was there for 3 months, it gave me my best friends on earth, who are still my best friends throughout all this craziness I've, experienced over the last 6-7 years.
So that's what the Gal Squad is about. If you want to know how you can join the Gal Squad, just get onto our website. You'll have the QR code over there. Join the WhatsApp group, and that's where we'll start helping or be there for you. And hopefully you will be there for each other and self-manage these groups for the rest of your lives and create that strong sisterhood where you support each other. You might have differences. You might disagree, but you will do it with respect. You will do it with the right intentions. You will do it with the love that you must have for each other, because this is what your life after college is going to be. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And if these girls are who you know, you don't ever have to write a resume again.
And that sisterhood aspect is, I feel, a big part of transitioning from a girl into a woman. Because you're going through all these changes, bodily changes, hormonal changes. Your society looks at you differently as you get older. People start talking about marriage. You have relationships. And the girls by my side have gotten me through the darkest times of all of that. And there's no replacement for it. There's not my brother, not my parents, not my partner. Nobody could replace. Even today, when I'm married now, so my husband and I, when we fight, sometimes he looks at me and he's like, "You should go to your girls." He knows this is not in his, domain.
Can't fix this.
It's like out of syllabus for him. So.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, she did marry that boyfriend of hers.
I married the boyfriend.
And he is now our son-in-law. Happy to have him in the family.
But yeah, that was another big thing, right? Just being in a relationship, because you kept waiting for it to fail. You were so convinced. You were just like, it's just a phase. Like, it's just a phase. Like, she's going to grow out of it. And then it became about, don't let this distract you from your studies. And I was like, okay. And I didn't. And so that was never a complaint either. I had to make sure that, like, I was never slipping up, because I knew my boyfriend would get blamed for it. So I had to, like, double up there. And eventually it became, okay, but, like, you can't be, and mind you, this is my first boyfriend, first everything, because 19...
First husband now.
First husband. But yeah. And so you had a colorful past, okay? And so...
What are you talking about?
As you dated around and stuff like that. And
are you calling me a player?
A little bit. And he, I guess, assumed I had the same genes, which I do. I think it just manifested differently. And he was just like, you're not good. You're going to get bored. You're going to, meet somebody else eventually. This is not going to work for you, and this and that. And I was like, okay, we'll see.
Yeah, see, our parenting was also working through the dynamics of our marriage, right? So we were going through our phases, and all of it was reflecting in the way we didn't want it to happen to them. And so a lot of these, the ATG that they call me, all-time Gyan, came from that space. But, funnily, even our relationship went through an evolution process, as hers did and ours did. And I think we're in a manageable space today.
Yeah, valid. Relationships are tricky. And that's another thing that I'm kind of grateful I experienced that in college, though. There's this shift, I think. Women particularly, kind of went through men hating phase. I don't need no man, all of that, which you don't. Nobody needs a man. But at the same time, I felt like I would get judged really badly because all of my friends were dating around. Nobody was serious with anybody. And, they used to laugh at me and call me auntie and this and that because I was, in a stable relationship with the same guy over multiple years. But the truth is that I needed that level of stability because if you had unleashed me out on the dating world, it would have been a problem for everybody involved. For
them.
I've come to this conclusion.
You
For everyone involved. Exactly. I saved a lot of men a lot of trouble.
Manav saved a lot of men a lot of trouble.
But yeah, technically Manav saved a lot of
Right?
men a lot of trouble. Yes.
Now, here's what's happening. Now, she's dating this guy, and I'm thinking, yeah, it's a phase, because this guy is almost like me. And she kept saying, oh, I hate you, and I'm going to find somebody who's not you. And she found somebody who is me. So he's like, what comes around goes around. So he's
Karma.
He's the karma. And she's saddled with him now. And God bless his soul, he is saddled with her. And I love it when they're all lovey-dovey and happy. I'm like, I hope this lasts for the rest of their lives, if not ours. And here's the point. In college, they were living together. And for most parents, this is like, oh my God,
Yeah.
blasphemous. But here I'm coming from a point of view saying you can live in with the guy. You don't have to be married to him. Just don't get there. Things change when the marriage thing happens. So I was quite okay. I mean, I couldn't change the fact that this guy is going to now be in her life. But I was trying to push the marriage part. No, you live in. How long did you? Because all the way till your master's degree, you were living
so we
with him.
weren't formally living together until after I
You're right,
graduated
okay.
college. It was like so he had a place in Philly and I would disappear for a couple of weeks at a time. That's I don't know if you'd call that living, but I would take little trips for sure. My senior year, so I guess ever since I turned 21, which was your rule for me.
What was that rule again?
Yeah. You, I believe it was no sex till 21.
And you kept it?
I did. And it's
What?
so terrible because it's like, can you believe it was so ingrained into my brain that if things ever escalated, I would hear your voice and it was gross. I was like, it took me some time to like even get out of that. And especially till I was 21. Then even after 21, it's like, I know I have the permission to do this, but I still can't get your voice out of my head. So
Is this what your therapy session's all about?
a little bit. At that point in time in my life, yes, for sure. Because that it was a problem. It definitely was a problem. But I did wait for what it's worth. I don't know if it helped or not. There's no telling.
This is a conversation. In fact, we've never talked this long as father and daughter before, and I'm getting carried away with it, so I need to put a stop to this. But if this conversation has, and that of with other guests that I've had on the show on Campus Dad,
Wait, I have a question.
yeah,
Okay, sorry. When I came out as bi, how did that make you feel?
by what?
Bisexual. How did
Oh,
that
you
make
are?
you feel?
You are?
Don't be annoying. Don't be annoying. How did it make you feel when I told you?
This is her comfortable way of saying of accepting her sexuality, and she's, what do you call that? Bisexual?
Yes.
Okay, so she says she's bisexual. Now, it was easier for me to deal with that because when she was growing up and I was thinking about all the guys that could have hurt her, and I was actually advising her, I think you should just become lesbian. This way, you're all good.
It's so funny. That was a joke at the time. And I used to tell you, I was like,
So
it's
it's
not
my-
a switch. You can't switch it on and off.
So it's my fault.
No, it's not your fault. It's just a funny coincidence.
No, because now, you see, this is getting to a place where parents are going to say, see, if you hadn't put those thoughts in her head, she would have never thought of it like that. And it's going to become a controversial issue. But hey, it's better to catch a bull by its horn than to deny its existence.
You are what you are. Whether you can put a label on it, somebody can call you a name for it or not, it doesn't matter.
And once she got married,
Not my monkey, not my circus.
it's his problem now. How's he dealing with it?
Oh, he's super supportive. Super, super supportive.
Okay.
I think I came out to him before I came out to you guys. I was more worried about what you guys would think because
Why? Because I was pushing you that way.
you were
Only to
pushing
keep
me.
the guys
I didn't,
away from you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't think you would take it seriously, and for a long time I was grappling with it internally myself. It was very difficult, especially because I also made the conscious decision to stay in the relationship I was in because I was happy. And so a lot of people are just like, oh, but you're married to a guy. Like, how can you like girls? Like, it's not traditional.
It's
Maybe
double happiness.
yeah, double happiness. I mean, it might be, maybe if I hadn't met Manav in a different world, I'd probably be dating girls. Maybe. But that just didn't work out that way. I found my person. I'm happy with my person. He happens to be a guy. And that's pretty much all there is to it. But I think coming back to being, I feel like parents need to be a lot more supportive of relationships in college than they are currently, because I'm now seeing the aftermath of not being in relationships when you're younger and then having to deal then with, it's like my friend said, some stranger, right? It's like my friend and I were talking the other day and I was like, how are you acclimatizing to marriage? And she was like, my mom never let me have a sleepover my whole life and have to sleep with next to a whole like man who I don't know in somebody else's house, which is crazy.
Well, there is some benefits to the old ways of arranged marriages, but today's social norms and challenges, it's better to know who you're getting in with. And we spend our whole lives learning about professions we first need to get into by studying it. But we throw all caution to the winds.
When it comes to love.
When it comes to love, and you put yourself in the arm of a total stranger who you don't know how he's or she's going to treat you, with zero insight. So it's a tricky subject. We'll leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed all the conversations with her. And if you're wondering who this is Kavya Srivatsa, my daughter and I, the campus dad to her life when she was in campus, and of course still her dad. And the other exciting guests that we've had on this show. If you haven't caught that, go catch it. There might be something for you there that you could put into your own lives to make it a little better for yourself and for your parents, and more importantly, for that relationship between you and your parents, because there is no stronger friendship that can happen than with your own parents and your siblings.
Yeah, he's my best friend.
But you've got to make that effort. You've got to earn their trust and vice versa. So for both of you out there, for the campus gal, for the campus dad, and the campus mom, happy parenting. Go take on the day.